Waiter! Waiter!
By the way, I don't think you've quite got that
Excuse
right.
me, waiter, there's a curator in my soup.
Befriend him, that you get curated, or curate yourself immediately. After all, as Stuart Holmes pointed out, the root of the word is the Latin curare, to look after, to take care of yourself, of business.
Rubbish. Taking care of business. The main way that phrase has been used, taking care of business, it was all those people round Elvis Presley, his carers, helpers. There's not a name for them, but they're fucking everywhere. His curators, if you like. And look what happened to him. It's a form of fakery. It's even worse, the fakery of the writer, curators, auteur, author. One big act from the director's chair. They were self-appointed carers of business. Look what happened to Elvis. That's taking care of business. Yeah, listen, the poor bugger, for all his beauty, the great vocal mannerisms, racial ventriloquism, you might say, all the good looks. How did it end? You know, the strain of that killed him. Because pardon my French, they couldn't take care of him trying to do his bloody business.
Coming of the first
They'll really make it. I mean, this isn't a fucking... Hang on, that's my line, waiter.
As long as those taking care of business curated, sir, it could be the first step on your path to the zenith of cultural administration.
Because I think it's the thin end of the wedge. I'm not the man of power I once was.
Curators are powerful people.
I'm an artist buffeted by market forces. You know what the thick bit is? We've got the fucking thick bit of the wedge now. We haven't spent 300 years. Now it's you who's romanticised. With a penchant for cross-dressing. Poor bugger. I mean, he didn't get to Spitalfields. 300 years working on what I think is a great idea, resurrected as the idea of art, whether it's a he, a she, or an it. Actually, while we're here, and again, I'm not being cheeky, I've never ever had a meal anywhere in Italy where the waiter comes with a great big fucking pepper. That's what, you know, because of it's like they're all in a bloody line, singing from the religiosity of the way art has appointed itself as a kind of...
I think this is going a little far, sorry.
Tiramisu and tartar, and it doesn't fucking go with what you've eaten as far as I'm concerned.
Not at all.
It's all a palate, you know, a glass of white wine sandwiched between two. You know what that fucking humour's about? It's a ghastly ruling class trick. Stood, sat, pathological. You know why? To be in one position for hours on end, fucking chit-chat over coffee. Positively. That's the only word, you know. You feel you're in some sort of, you know, pepper storm. You leave the pepper on the table. It's a perverse and voyeuristic theory, because those critics were really looking for what makes a director stand out. Is kinky in somebody. Look at me standing out.
Directors aren't kinky, but heroic. The word auteur, like author, is from the Latin.
I think you mean autor, by the way. If you're going to quote Latin to me, get your fucking Bradley's Arnold out and get it fucking right. The art world's already awash with sorcerers' apprentices. You can't, you don't even have to walk into a gallery. You just need to sort of walk around it. You go to an opening, whatever that is. I see what you're doing. I'm not going to have curatorship. I will not kneel and I will not curate.
You have a gallerist.
No, and I will not be curated, ni Dieu ni maître, neither God nor master. And I'd rather be a fucking sad clown than a gallerist painting, panting, rowing to the rhythm of the big drum thrust upon me by some kind of star. Look, I didn't have that in mind when I was a dreamer in short trousers.
The dream is over. But suit yourself.
I do suit myself, but my shirts are sadly lacking.
I couldn't possibly comment.
No, manufacturers have been skimping on materials since the reign of Margaret Thatcher. No pockets, reduced cuffs, that tight fucking waisted skinny rib you've got to placate because it's bloody hungry and it keeps being bought over and over again. Voodoo devil dog. It's voracious. Profit margins from mystery. Why is that fucker so shirty all the time?
Heavens above, sir. Are you sure? On the other hand, I do
How many shirts have I bought with the hole at their heart? There's a magic mushroom in
curated, sir. For too long the British have been fungi haters, microphones.
That looks pathetic. So if you look at my shirt, it keeps the fucking manufacturers very happy because they serve on materials.
I was never brought up with that in mind. If you can't hook up with a fashionable gallery,
they're non-existent, or there's a void at their heart.
You get more curatable with every course. I can picture you in the merchant marine and jumping ship at the same time. It's the function of the avant-garde to advance by being fuel, in constant motion and flight, fleeing yet ahead of the game.
the materials have been skimped on. It maximises profits. It's like a conspiracy of the sartorial industrial complex, and it does two things.
No, sir. There's a hole in your shirt. You can curate that. It's the right kind of hole. Think positively, holistically.
Listen, there's no cure for it. Now it's you that's romanticising. I haven't got any money because I've got a hole in my pocket. When I see the dessert menu, I just need a kind of a sort of lighter lift. In fact, I swear. I mean, I'm a red man, but I like a lighter lift between courses. You know, goblet-type wine glasses with a little bit of red in them. Solid melts into air. Dressing up like that. It's the thin end of the I think probably the best solution is plagiarism. Walking along this line to get to what is considered to be the centre of the art world in the UK. There's no cure for it.
A whole sales team of Alan Initiates.
A sales team of Alan Initiates. Fucking army. They're sorcerer's apprentices, aren't they? And that's the last thing we need. The art world is awash with sorcerer's apprentices. Sort of in the cracks between the curator and the artists, and from curator to... I wouldn't know what to call them. I mean, what the fuck do they do?
That doesn't mean anything to me.
There are all these jobs in the art world.
Don't romanticise the poor bohemian. Art, religion and money are the same thing. I'm not referring to anything as banal as the idea of a Larry choke Bart, the Medicis, the Church of Rome, or Pacioli the monk, accountant friend of Leonardo, who popularised the idea of mathematical perspective in painting, as well as debit and credit columns in banking. I mean brass. Historically, the very first coin. Those coins were designed, fashioned, and therefore would be described as art, as well as currency. In other words, art, money, in a religious setting. God, mammon, art. Art, mammon, God. The indivisible Holy Trinity. You can't see the joins.
You can't see those fucking coins either, because if they were in Iraq, formerly Mesopotamia...
In my opinion, it would be better.
Waiter than fucking George Bush and Tony Blair. Anyway, before your temple tribute, your holy brass buttons, wherever they are now, there were cave paintings.
Well, if you say so.
It's quicker to copy, to plagiarise, than it is to create. The good thing about that is it leaves you more time to get up off your arse, and you can do something useful, like poetry. And by the way, that's got nothing to do with writing. It's voices. It's voices coming into you that you're a medium for, that then emanate out. That's what good poetry is. And that's why Lotriemont said that poetry is made not by one, but by all. It's all the voices in your head.
I'd still suggest that you get curated
Waiter.
or curate something yourself immediately.
There's a Marcel Duchamp in my pheasant. I love an artist on top of his game. Excuse me, waiter, there's a curator in my soup. Waiter, why don't you just get into motion and bring me my main course, my faisan au cocotte, please?
I'll go and get your faisan au cocotte.
I can think of one individual in particular where I became very aware of this species. I met Anthony Tapper in 1984. At the time, he was about 35, I would say. 30 years later, he still looks 35. What's that about? He's made a fucking pact with the devil, with Satan. And that's why he still looks young. Well, in certain body parts, because if you look at his head, he's like a little fucking wizened monkey. But the rest of his body, it's like a child labourer. A Primark child labourer, but in a Dries Van Noten suit. I mean, Anthony Tapper wouldn't wear bloody Primark, would he?